Hey, welcome back to Steve Bakes, Isolation Bakes Focaccia. This bread, oh my God. I made one the other day and it was so good. We smashed it. It was so bad, but it was so good at the same time. So I'm going to show you how to make this bread. It's really simple. It is a wetter dough, so you're not going to need so much, but it is well worth the wait. You're going to need roughly 12 hours for this. You do 6 to 8 hours for the first proof, then 4 to 6 hours for the next one. Or it just depends on your conditions in your room or your house that you're doing this in. So let's get over here and have a look. All right, here we're in the kitchen. So this recipe is quite simple. So what you're gonna need for this is 500 grams of flour. You can use all purpose. Today I'm using 00 and high grade. Got a 50-50 mix. 10 grams of salt. And you have 340 ml of water. You have about 40 to 50 ml of olive oil and 160 grams of your starter. So what you do first, you just put your salt in with your flour, mix it in there, and just give it a mix up around here. Okay, so it's going to be quite a wet dough to knead, so I'm going to do a couple minute knead. So you'll see here it is quite wet. See, it's just like a ball there. Don't worry about that. Just grab your scraper. You'll find that this dough is really sticking in your hands. It is covered in dough. So the best way to get that off is just grab a bit of flour and just rub your hands together. And then most of the dough should come off. It doesn't matter if it goes back into the mix, that's all good. Yeah, that didn't really work, but you get the idea. You'll figure it out as you go along. So we're going to transfer it back into here. Ideally, if you have a stand mixer, you'd put it in that for about 10 minutes at a low speed, but because we don't, and we just don't. We just do it by hand. We let this dough rest now for 15 minutes, then we do our 10 folds, then repeat it again 4 more times. I want to quickly talk about toppings for a focaccia. Focaccia, you can have anything you want really, but what I like to do is a lot of olive oil, some salt, like flaky sea salt's cool, any sort of salt you have, maybe some sliced olives on there, red onion and some rosemary, just the classic sort of flavorings. It is just so good, especially when you get those pockets with the olive oil and the olives and a bit of rosemary and salt. Oh, it's so good. Anyway, we'll cover all that towards the end when we go to do the toppings. See you soon. This is going to be quite wet, so what you need to do is just use some water to wet your fingers, like that. Then grab an edge, pull it. Like it is very wet. That's what we want. This is almost like a ciabatta dough. There you go, now we just leave it for another 15 and come back and do it again. So now that I've kneaded the dough, done my 10 folds every 15 minutes, we're going to do the window plane test to see if the dough is ready to be put aside to prove. So what this test does is to show if it's been kneaded enough and it's building enough strength. So all you're going to do really is all your hands, I've already done it. So grab a bit of dough, just chop it off or something, and then just slowly stretch it out so you see like a window plane like that. See it up in the light. And then, so that's ready to go. So basically all you're doing is going to put some oil in a bowl. Then you grab your dough, put it in. May just go a quick fold over. So I need to reincorporate the bit I cut off. And so we're going to let that rise now for about 4 to 6 hours. It may be sooner. It depends on your temperature of inside your house. If it's quite warm, it may need 4 hours, but today I'm going to do about 4 to 6 hours. If you wanted to, you could put this in the fridge overnight and do a slow prove. That will bring out more flavour. It's definitely a good idea too. Our dough's been proving now for the last 6 or 7 hours, so if we have a look, we're really going to shape it out into our shape. Let's have a look at it. Wow, so it looks quite good. It's got some bubbles there. It's come out really nicely. It's nice and springy. So now what we're going to do, we're going to prove it overnight in the fridge in this oven tray here. So this is ultimately what we're going to bake it in. So we're going to shape it now and put it into here. So you'll find it will be still very wet and sticky, but that's fine. So what we do, we're going to oil this first. So use some olive oil. Hold it in there. This acts as like the non-stick sort of thing, and B, just give it some more flavour. Yeah, nice. So this is a 6-hour prove. So it's been out on the bench top most of the day. Now we just like push it around to the edges. Try and keep as much of the air bubbles in this one. Just cover it up, and then we're going to put it into the fridge overnight. So right now it's roughly about 6 o'clock at night here. I'm going to let it prove in the fridge overnight for about 12 hours, take it out for a couple of hours, then going to bake it. Okay, so when we're in the garden here, you can use whatever you like. We've got some nice parsley, we've got some oregano, some basil, some lemon thyme. This looks a bit sad, but that's right. And we've got some normal thyme up here. Or you can go for just some traditional rosemary here. So this works really nice on focaccia. Mix this with a bit of olive oil and salt. It's really good. But yeah, so whatever herbs you can find in your garden. If not, rosemary is quite common to find out walking out on the street. You'll probably often find it in a lot of council gardens or other people's like front gardens or in the bush somewhere. Whatever you want to put on your focaccia is really up to you. So let's go back in and do the toppings. So with your focaccia, what you want to do is now create your holes and your divots. So the way to do that is, first of all, wet your hands so it creates like a lubrication. Then just go from there and just push right down to the middle. See, my hands are not quite wet enough and it's still pulling. So it's these holes and you see these air bubbles that come up and form. That's what you want. It doesn't have to be uniform, it doesn't have to be like a grid, it can just be whatever you like. Alright, so the next thing we do is put our toppings on. Next I'm going to go with my olives. Olives, it's just good to try and push in to some holes. Next I'm going to go with my jalapenos. I like a little bit of spice. These I'm just going to sprinkle on. Then we're going to go with the rosemary. So what I've done with the rosemary is sort of chopped a little bit and added some olive oil because if you put it on dry, it'll just come out dry, so it's best to wet it a little bit. So you just use a bit of olive oil to do that, and that way it just brings out the flavour a bit more. You just sprinkle them on. So if you have flaky sea salt, perfect. I've just got some pink Himalayan salt, so I just grab a whole lot and just be quite generous, nice sprinkling. And finally, grab some olive oil. It's nice to use some extra virgin olive oil and then just sprinkle it on as much as you like. I think that's a good amount. So now we're going to bake in the oven. We're going to bake it at 220 degrees for roughly 20 to 30 minutes. Just all depends on your oven. So we are going to do a steam bake. So I'm going to put an oven tray at the bottom and put some hot water in there to create some steam to help let it rise a bit more. So let's get into that. And it goes. Grab my oven lid. Hot water. And we're gonna go for maybe 25 minutes. All right, see you soon. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Oh my God, looks so good. A little bit brown, but that's okay. You probably find sometimes this doesn't grow evenly, but it doesn't matter. It's still gonna be tasty. So there's our sourdough focaccia. We'll let this cool now, then cut it up and eat it. Take some photos of it as well. So yeah, so the focaccia, easy to make, just takes a bit of time, super tasty. You can use this with soups, you can cut it in half like flat ways and make a sandwich out of it. Yeah, so if you like this video, please like and subscribe.